Hello everyone, good afternoon. Today we can start API versioning. Which topic will we start? So today we can start API versioning. That is very important question in the interview perspective. And I already created in the last class we created this onion architecture. So inside this onion architecture, I will try to implement API versioning practically. So you also have a knowledge how we can implement this API versioning practically here. So this project already deployed or already this code will be deployed or these classes are deployed in YouTube. You can watch from there, and I am just using this project, and here I will implement API version. For example, already we have a this project controller, but now we are not implement anything here. So same version we are created new version of this project controller. For example, here anything we are getting get all method, but in the new version client have a requirement. They also want in the get all method they also want a count or some updated information. For example, now we are just getting here in the service. So I will try to make it simple so anyone can easily understand. For example, now in the get all response, you are getting ID, name, and in the next, I also want description also. But I don't want to change the previous controller version because that version already used my old app, and in my new app, I want new field that is a description. So without disturbing or without changing this controller, we can create it's a new version that is the API version. Is it clear? Anyone have any question? You can message me here. So firstly, I will give you simple definition. What is the API versioning in the .NET 4? So if anyone have any questions, you can message me here. Okay. So API versioning in .NET Core is a technique that allows you to maintain multiple version of your RESTful or web API to like existing old app or existing client to using the previous version. Also, you can introduce the new changes where he want. So API versioning in .NET Core is a technique that allows you to maintain multiple versions of your web API so that existing client to work even after introducing you can introduce the new API or new changes. Okay. For example, in the version 1, why version need first question is for example in the this API we are getting only name ID name, but in the updated version, I also need a new field that is the description. So if we change directly here, if we change directly here, so older application may stop work versioning because they are using only name and ID, but now I updated here. So that's why we can use API versioning. So we can create a both two version. In the first version, we are getting two fields. In the next version, we are getting three fields. So next question will be, why API versioning is needed. So you can suppose like that you have API, and for example get API, and you are getting API, your controller name products, and here you can getting JSON ID is equal to 1 comma and name is equal to anything laptop. Okay, but now client have a requirement, he also want a new field that will be a price or description price he want. Okay, so we can create here, this is you can make a version 1, and next you can create the version 2, and where you can add this field to. So here we can add price 10. Okay, so this version will be used in the legacy projects and all, and this is where updated we want this version. So like that way we can use API versioning, and this is the requirement. Is it clear? Anyone have any doubt or question? Is it clear to everyone? You can write yes or no. Okay, next we can understand how this thing, I can explain here how this thing we can implement practically. So you need to create one CRUD operation. This is I already completed, and this video also uploaded in here. If you go in the free session here, so you can get from here, or you can simply create one CRUD operation here. So if you go here the playlist, so here, so here this video is already uploaded here, so you can watch from here. Okay, so now we are just focus on the API version, or I can take any simple. mm, okay, I will take it simple so you don't have any confusion. Without any architecture, this is the simple monolithic architecture we are follow, and we have a simple one project. This project also uploaded in YouTube. How we can create? So this is very simple. So here we can try with, here is nothing, only one solution. So it's easy to understand. I will update it here. So I can, okay. So here our, what is the first step? We need to install two packages here. So every time when we create a CRUD operation, we need to install some packages. So same like that, to implement API versioning, we need to install two packages. That will be, first will be app.versioning.mbc and API Explorer. Two package we need to install here. So I can go here and I will show you which version we are using here. .NET 8.0 version we are using here. Okay, so I will click here tools, Nugget Package Manager and manage Nugget Package for solution. So here I will choose one version, ASP dot version. Okay, first one is API versioning.mbc and second one is API ASP versioning.mbc.api explorer. So these two packages we need to install. So I will select this. So I am working in a previous version, so I will try to use 8th version here. So our latest version will be 10, but for now we are using 8 here. Same changes in the latest version, so little bit advanced things in the latest version, but all the things are same. Next thing is, yeah, got this one. And here again we are using 8th version. So this is our step 1. We can install these two packages. So I will also steps to implement API version, and it's a very important question in every project. We can try to implement versioning because we sometimes we want a different version. Somewhere we are using legacy version and somewhere we need to updated changes or updated field. So that time we can use version. So step 1. So I will try to make it simple so anyone can easily understand. So first step is simple. We need to install these two packages. I can copy here and paste here. This is our first step. And second thing is we need every time you already know everything we can configure or we can register in the program.cs file. So same like that way we also need to configure this API versioning in our program.cs file. Step. Return it. Okay, so our second step is we need to configure this in a program.cs file, because here we can define which version we are not giving any version here. So here above the API we can define which version so to do this setup we need to add some configuration, or we need to configure this thing in our program.cs file. So second step is add and configure API versioning services in program.cs file, because this is my entry point and where our all application will be start or starting point of our application. So here we will add here. So this code you can easily get from Google if you can search here API versioning in the, or you can just get simply from the chat GPT or API versioning configure any problem. So this code you don't need to learn, or you just have a understanding where we can implement this thing. So you can get from here. So this thing you need to add here in the program.cs file. So I already write here. Just copy from here. Okay. So I will explain here. So this thing we need to add here after controller. Here you need to explain this thing. I will explain you which add or add and configure API versions services. Okay, so this thing we need to add here. First one is we can give here by default version. If we don't give any version in the our first API, so it will by default it will take the first version here. So this thing we need to configure here. This is the default version to use when client does not specify any version here. So by default it will be start from the one is your first version, and this is the assumed default version. This is the basic configuration we are doing here. Okay, and same this version, it will be showing like that way. You can read the version like that way, and this configuration you need to do here, and meaning of this your version format will be like that way. Here we can add this thing. It means your version format of API versioning will be like that way. Example V1, V1, V2. It will be showing like that way. So this is the basic configuration. You don't need to remember, just you have an understanding where we add this code. So this code we can add here. Okay, it will be showing like that way. API versioning. So if I go here, so it will be defined like that way. Okay. Here you can this code we also need. Now we are just configure this thing. How? For example, same you have a two APIs, public APIs, and in here your version will be by default one, and there is version two. And this thing also we need to configure by yourself. In we need to create some custom code we need to write, and this thing also we need to configure in program.cs. For example, when you can run from Swagger, but for now you can see if I run this, now it will be not showing this option. To create this option we need to write some code here, and that class also we need to configure here. So you can see here is only one version by default, but here is no option to choose another version here, because by default it will be showing like that way. But now we are working on a different version. So one another option you can select from here, or you can hit from the postman. One another option we can do some setup here. So we can easily choose here. We can easily choose here which version. For example, if we want to working in a latest project, that we can use latest version, and we can check the latest version APIs. And if we want use in the previous or legacy, that time we can choose here version 1 or previous version here. So this thing we also need to configure here. Is it clear? Anyone have any question or doubt? This thing you don't need to remember, this just for configuration, this versioning. Is it clear to everyone? Okay. So next thing is this thing, to configure this thing, we need to create one class. So I will create here one class, that is a configure swagger option. To take this option, we need to create one class. So I will take here one class. I can close this. And this code I also paste here, so anyone you can easily get. Okay. Okay, I will add this in the comment. Okay. Next we need to configure this swagger option. So I will create one class here. So this class we can create it to configure these options. To configure these option I want to get. So this we need to add this class. If anyone have any confusion or question, you can message here. Okay. So it's a simple for the configuration, means we are able to select the version here. So only to select the version we can add this code. So I will give you just introduction here. Here we configures the Swagger generation options. You can choose dynamically based on the API version. So that's why we are adding this code. So you just take the understanding why we need to add this code, and to expose the different version of API. By the application. So that you can choose endpoints like for each individual version. API version. Example v1 comma v2. Okay. And this thing also we need to configure here. Register this Swagger configuration class here in the program.cs file, because we are just created this class. this reference we also need to add here our program.cs file. Okay, so here we can add here. So here is just the Swagger configuration option and helper here. Helper class we can add here. So how we can register here? Welder dot services dot configure options, and here we can configure this class. Okay. So all the setup we are completed. Now we need to create the different version of API. Is it clear to everyone? Have any doubt? You can write yes or no. So this code you don't need to remember. You can easily get from Google. This is the basic. If you give any technical interview or practical interview, so you can take help from Google, but you have understanding where we can write this code. Now you have a understanding. Firstly, we need to configure these things and by default which version it will be start and how it will be format. So this thing we can set in program.cs file. After that, this is my next step. After that, we can create one class to take the options. So when we can run the Swagger, so we can choose individual version here. So step 3, choose the uh, visual version of the REST API here. So for this we need to configure this code. Sorry, this code. So with this code you can easily, this is not you need to remember all logical question. You just get this code from the Google, anywhere you can get this configuration. Only you have to understanding where we can implement this code. So this is my step 3. After this we can register this thing in program.cs file. Register uh, step 4, register Swagger option in program.cs file. CS file. So we can configure like that way. So this is the basic configuration that we are completed. And next simple part, we will create two different version of the same API here. Okay. So I can, okay, I will try to make it simple. You can different version you will create based on the requirement URL, but I will make it simple so anyone can easily understand here. For example, we have a already one API product. So this is I will create this version one, and new one I will create a one another version here. Okay, so here I will not do any changes. Simply we can write here the versioning. It's a choice. You can take another folder. For example, I will create here V1. Sorry, V1 version. And the first API I will put here. Okay. So cut from here and paste here. And next I will create the new version here. V2 version. And same API I will take here, but some changes I will do inside it. So I just copy this and here I will give the version API version and rounded bracket. Here I will give the version, for example, 0.1. And same I will copy this and paste here. And here I will give the different version here. So the latest version, and for example, here you want to do any new changes here. Mm, okay, so it will be we can create it inside version 2 and version 1. And this thing we also configure here. So now your URL will be like that way: API, then control version name, then your controller name, and in the last your method name. For example, you can just Google this. So it will be like that way. And the next thing is your out will be like that way every time. Okay, so now your route will be like that way. API, then your version by default first version will be 1, like that way format, and then your controller name that will be product, and then your method name like get all, and or same thing we need to here. And here your route will be changed here. Okay, so like that way we are created here two different version, and you can change here same API and same API name, only the version will be changed here. For example, you can we can take from just example here get by id method. I want to do some changes. So in the response, I want variable product is equal to, I want new response here is equal to new, or for example you can, or I will make it a response. Here I want to take product product is equal to product, and like one new response just for understanding I will add here one active system. So I will take this whole value and I will set this value true. So like that way changes I will do here, and I will, so this is my version 2. So I will copy. So here I will change the response here based on requirement. Same like that way you can change here in the here. For example, in the first GTO you are getting three fields. In the next GTO you want to get a four fields. So you can also change here. But just for understanding, I just changing here. So and same here. For example, in the get all method, you want to make a response here, variable response is equal to new, and you want for example you want products is equal to products, and next you also want a total count. Total count is equal to products dot count. So now you are getting two fields here. Okay, and sorry. Mm, okay, here is wrong, and here we can. Okay, so in the first API we are getting simple, sorry, here we are just getting just simple get all, not the total count or no any field here also. But in the latest version we can do some changes here. Is it clear? Okay, so this is my last step, and you based on your requirement you can do the changes. It's just for understanding. I will explain you the flow as simple as so. So I only changes here because if we want to change in the details, so we need to do changes here. But I make it simple here. In the first get all method you just get two like fields, but here in this method you also get the count, and here your response will be like that way. So little changes we can do here. So let's run this project and check all things are working. So this is the basic steps to implement API versioning. So this is my starting point where our application will be start here. We'll run this. So you can see in this swag, why it's not showing here. Your Zoom. We already configured these things. We can Okay, here we are not getting the option. Okay, for now I will do it because I think something we are missing here. Okay, this class we already added. Okay, this thing also showing here, but not showing the option here. For now, I am just explain you here. For example, here you have a version 1. We can open here directly. Now you are getting this response. So same thing if I get here version 2. So now you also get this total count. But now here we are not able to get this option here. So I think we are missing something. So you can see here both are the get all method, but in the first get all we are getting ID, name and description. But in the latest version, version 2, I can updated some changes here. So same name, your controller name will be product, but the here value will be changes here. So here we can get this value also versioning. Is it clear to everyone how we can implement this thing? Only this option are not showing. Let's Google. This thing we already configured. Is it clear to everyone? You can write yes or no. This is the basic steps to implement the API versioning. And let's we already added this code. I think something we are missing here. Okay. So anything missing in the problem.cs file. Firstly, I will push these changes. Okay, changes. Okay. Okay. So I think these changes we need to do. Here inside the Swagger UI, we need to define this thing. Or another thing we already added. Okay, let's review this. Okay, yes. So this thing we need to implement here inside app.environment.is development here, app.use swagger here. So this is the another step that we are missing. Also, this thing we need to configure in app.use swagger UI. So I think this is our step 4. Dot UI. Okay. So this thing app.use configure. So here we need to explain, add this API version, and this will be showing here. Okay, now it's working. So we can check both version here. For example, here we can open version 1 and here I will open the version 2. Version 2. So for example, if I find it out and execute, so your response will be like that way. We can get 3 records, but here we will also get the total count here. Same like get by ID, same API. Now we can get different response here. Get by ID. Okay, I can pass to. So for example, here you can get a simple record, name, ID, and description. But here you can get a new field that we are added is active system. So that you can get here. So this is the API version. Your API name will be same. Only this version here, version 2 and version 1. Is it clear to everyone or have any doubt? So here I will take the option. So it's very easy. If we, for example, if you have a 10 version, if you do manually, that very difficult to handle that thing. So that's why you can simply select from here which version you want to use. Okay. So this is API versioning, and your important question will be like that way in the interview perspective. What is the API versioning? Why we need this versioning? So I already clear to maintain a two different version of same API. We can use API versioning so we can work in the legacy project and also use in the new step. So I will only request you, you can try to implement by yourself. Then when you have a practical knowledge, you can much better way you can able to answer in able to answer in an interview. Okay. So here your URL will be changed here. Nothing will be changed here. Other things will be same here. You can check here. Your URL, only your URL version will be changed here, version 1 or version 2. And it's a very important question because if you work in a high level project, everywhere we can follow this versioning, because sometimes we have a different version of APIs and we also want to maintain the previous version also. Okay. So there is a another question is we have a I have some questions. Okay, you can get question from anywhere. It's not compulsory. You can read. First one is what is the API versioning? Like it's a simple question. Why we need it? So API versioning giving a different version of the API. You can take 1 and 2. You can change the up and approve the APIs without breaking the application that already used in the older version. For example, you can take example your phone app older feature will be work. For example, 10,000 users are using old app, but you also doing creating a new website or new app where you want a different version here. Okay, there are multiple ways to change the versioning, URL versioning query, where you can change the query, headering, header, media. So these are the important question. Um, Next will be a breaking or non-breaking. So in the breaking, you will add a new entity, and in the non-breaking changes means uh, you will change same API, some name, same field. For example, now your API name will be here. Name will be Pens name. You want to change first name, so that will be used. So these are the important questions related to the API version. Okay, so this is done for today class. If anyone have any question, you can comment down. And I already started one new batch in 21st July. So if anyone want to join, so it's a 1 month batch, and it's a you have a everyday class, and timing will be 10 to 11. So if anyone want to join, you can message me on the WhatsApp. I will give my WhatsApp number in the description. You can take from here, and it's a fully 1 month batch, and every day I will provide you the recorded classes also. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye bye.